Remember to come to the big yard sale May the 6th. That's this Saturday, First Baptist Church, Monroe, the Fellowship Hall. You'll be able to see the cars there and know right where to come in, but you come in the Fellowship Hall, First Baptist Church, May the 6th for the big yard sale. Plenty of clothes. There's just gobs and gobs of clothes, furniture, utensils, everything around, just anything that you could think of is going to be at this yard sale. Sometimes there's lawnmowers, sometimes refrigerators, freezers. We just don't know. There will be a lot of stuff at the big yard sale, First Baptist Church, Monroe, Saturday, May the 6th.
So, as I mentioned, I am the Community and School Garden Coordinator for the state. So I work in a lot of community gardens, and I work a lot with urban agriculture. And so we're going to switch and talk about tomatoes and peppers. So question for y'all, what is the number one vegetable that homeowners like to grow?
Tomatoes.
What is the number one pain-in-the-butt vegetable to grow?
Tomatoes.
Right, tomatoes. But nevertheless, I will visit anybody. I mean, I grow tomatoes in barrels at my house. So tomatoes are what people want to grow. Tomatoes are hard to grow in Georgia. They're hard to grow in Georgia. So what I thought when I was asked to do this presentation is I'm going to give you guys some hints and tricks to help you get through tomato season with a good harvest and less problems. All right, so that's how I wanted to approach it today. So the first thing that I see when I visit people is tomatoes are planted very close together. And it's tempting, right? Usually you'll buy a tomato, and this is a big one. I usually kind of get the smaller ones. Bonnie has those smaller ones. And you know, you have this big area, and you're tempted to do this because all you can think about is, man, those BLTs are going to be so good. Or I'm going to put together some sauce, or however. But think ahead. You want to plant them far apart because they're going to get big. If you get determinate tomatoes, they are smaller, but they don't put out quite as many tomatoes, and they'll put all their blooms and tomatoes out pretty much at once. Most of us, like a lot of tomatoes, we plant indeterminate, and they get big and viney, and you get a lot of tomatoes. If you plant like this is one disease waiting to happen, because air can't get through here to dry off the leaves when they're wet. The leaves that are wet can stick together, and with no airflow and lots of moisture, fungal diseases are calling your name. So it's just a matter of time before this tomato crop area is just not going to look good anymore. The question is, did I tell them that? I did say we can prune this a little bit and get a little more airflow. Another thing is tomatoes, believe it or not, are finicky about their temperatures, especially their soil temperatures. And this particular community garden had these planted, had the cages ready, had them a little bit far apart, but that is bare dirt, bare soil. There is no mulch in there at all. What that means is any moisture in that soil is going to rapidly evaporate, and the soil temperatures are going to swing wildly. If you have mulch down, you have helped the moisture stay, and you've helped even out some of those soil temperatures. We do know from studies that living in Blairsville, even in the summer, we have cool nights. And we grow very, very good corn and very good tomatoes up there because at night, the temperatures cool off, giving that plant a rest, giving it a little break. Down here, you guys stay warm all night long. So anything that you can do to baby them and help that temperature even out will help those plants. So consider using mulch. Consider using fresh mulch every year. And I know that's a pain, that's expensive, that's hard to do. But if you have any disease or any insects that have overwintered in that mulch, it'd be nice to move them out and have a fresh start over. So definitely consider using mulch for your tomato plants. Do not plant tomato plants in the same place every year. And when I'm talking to community gardeners and they've been assigned a 4x8 plot, they don't want to talk to me about that. They don't want to hear that because they want tomatoes. But if you plant tomatoes in the same spot over and over again, you are inviting one of the many pathogens that attack tomatoes to just come right in and stay. If you have a community garden, what I recommend for them is that you rotate who grows the tomatoes each year. You get a lot of them. and you share. But you don't grow the same every year. And if you want to get really scientific and do a really great job with rotation, the first thing you would rotate is some root crops. So after you've grown tomatoes in that area, the next year think about things like radishes and carrots, things that grow underground. And then the next year, think about some legumes, some beans, some peas, and then you can go back to your tomatoes. So that those things help with the soil nutrition in that area, and they also attract different pests. So you're kind of fooling them a little bit. So our founding fathers did crop rotation. We have to do crop rotation if we're going to continue to get a good crop. When you water your tomato plants, I know it's really fun on a Saturday morning to go out and look at your crops with the hose, and you're just watering away, thinking about, man, I could do this, I could grow my own food. When you water above, you are actually creating little micro areas for fungal pathogens. Try the best you can to just water at the base of that plant to keep those leaves dry. By doing that, the plant's going to get more water, which it's going to need, and you're going to not have all of those disease issues on your leaves. The very best time to water is in the morning because it gives the plant a chance to dry off. If you water when you get home from work and you're late getting home, like it's 8 o'clock and you're out there with the hose over watering, and then it gets dark and it cools down, then you're going to build up disease. I guarantee it. So try and water at the base of your plant. Try and water early in the morning if you can. We all can't do that. I'm at work early in the morning, so I have to water in the evening. But I always try and keep those leaves nice and dry. When you are looking at your plants, and I believe these are marked, they are, breeders have done a great job to breed resistance into some of these diseases that we get. And if you look at a seed catalog or you look at your plant label, you will see some of these letters and you may not have even known what they were for. But if it has a letter, that means that it is built to have disease resistance to that disease. These are fungal diseases for the most part. So Fusarium wilt is an F. That is, we have it all over Georgia. So if you get a plant that has an F on it, that means you have a head start. Does it mean that this plant is Fusarium wilt proof? No. It means it's resistant. But if you have piled enough of that disease pathogen on that plant, it will probably show some disease symptoms for you. So look at these numbers, look at these letters, look for them on your plants. If you have planted tomatoes in the past and they have had a disease and you've taken them to Joel, and Joel tests to find out what you have, then the next time you buy a plant, make sure it has the letter for that disease. That makes sense? Just to give you a head start, right? And weedy plots are places for pests to hide. I know at the end of the season, it is so easy to do nothing. And in some cases, that's okay. If you're talking about nesting for bees or whatever, but most of the time I will show up at community gardens and they just said, I'm done. It's too hot, I'm out of here. And this is what it looks like. And that is just like, okay, if I'm a leaf-footed bug, I'm going to just hang out here all season. And then I'll wait until they plant the plants and I'm interested in. And that's what happens all the time. So even if it's hot, even if you don't want to do it, make sure you're taking care of everything so that you have the best chance for success. Some of the things that I've seen, southern bacterium blight. A lot of these wilts or blights look like you haven't given the plant enough water. And what happens is the fungal pathogens get up in that vascular system and they block it. So even if you put gallons and gallons of water, the plant is still going to look like this because that water is not reaching all the way up in the plant because of a pathogen. So if you start getting anything that looks like this and you're watering enough, then take that plant, Joel, and have him look at it and do some testing to find out what you have. If you have something like this, there's nothing you can do. You can't go out and buy a fungicide and spray your crop and have a crop that year. You're done. So you might as well figure out really what it is and prevent best you can for the next year. Boy, it makes it sound like we don't want to grow these at all, but they're a lot of fun. Fusarium wilt is, I see it all the time, and it's the same type of thing. It looks like this. The plant just is dying. No matter what you've done to it, no matter what fertilizer, no matter how much you water, it looks like this. That is another fungal pathogen that is causing vascular blockage. So it's never gonna, you're never gonna get that fixed. If you garden in 4x8 beds and you have removed this and you said, all right, I'm done, I'm gonna come back next year, this pathogen will overwinter in that soil and even have spores in the bed itself. So crop rotation is very important. Late blight disease, another one that I see quite a bit. Again, look at the, you can tell right here, nothing's going up that stem. You can see what the plant leaves look like, and any tomatoes, you're going to see the pathogen. Some of our insects, these are leaf-footed bugs. You can tell because the back of their legs look like leaves. They have some sucking mouth parts that will actually go in the tomato and suck out some of its juice. And so your tomatoes get pockmarked. Even your peppers will get pockmarked. You can still eat them. There's nothing in the tomato that the leaf-footed bugs have put in there that will bother you. But if you're selling them at the farmer's market or you're super picky, you don't want these insects. And if they continue to grow and multiply, you're going to have a lot of them, and they can do a lot of damage to a lot of your crops. Tomato hornworm looks, and these, I was in a hurry. This was my old garden. That's what they look like right here. If you see one of those and you're thinking, oh, I wonder what that is, and the next day you come out and there's no tomatoes at all, that was a tomato hornworm, right? But as an entomologist, I love to see this. Yeah. This is an example of a parasitic wasp. What she will do is she will put her ovipositor inside this tomato hornworm while it's doing its thing, killing your tomato plants, and lay eggs. And this is a really cool story, y'all. So as those eggs hatch and the little larvae emerge, which are little worms, something happens chemically to the brain of this crazy insect that has it slow down but not die as these larvae eat the inside of this insect. Yeah. So the insect wants to keep this hornworm alive long enough that the babies get good nutrition. What you're seeing here is the babies have spun cocoons, and these are all going to be more parasitic wasps. So if you see this on your plant, you don't have to remove it because it can't do much more damage. It's just hanging on. It's just barely living. And all these that will emerge are looking for other tomato hormones. But if you see this with none of that, you better pick it off. If you come back tomorrow, you will have no tomato plants. The world of entomology is vicious. So again, we've got some great plants from Bonnie's here. So I'm going to talk a little bit, I think that's, I'm going to talk a little bit about what you do when you get your tomato plant home to help you get a good start. So what they have brought us, I looked earlier, they are really good specimens of plants. There's no evidence of any disease, multiple leaves, all sorts of wonderful things. So the first thing I want you to do when you get your tomato plant is you're going to see in the crook of the crotch of some of these leaf areas a tiny leaf here. So you have the crotch angles, what we call it. This is a leaf, and you have another thing right here. Take that out. All right, you're gonna call it pruning, so you sound like you're doing a really big important thing, but just take that out because you don't need more things growing in here. The nutrition needs to go to the leaves that are already there. These healthy, wonderful things. This tiny little leaf here, we don't need it. So I'm just gonna. Whoever gets this one, I've already done your work for you. We're gonna take these out. All right. Then the next thing you're gonna do is when you dig your hole, you're going to make sure that you know, I'm going to have a big plant. I'm going to need room for big roots. So I'm going to make sure whatever area I choose has nice deep soil really deep. I'm not going to dig a hole like this and have compacted clay around and stick that tomato in and start looking through recipe books. You're going to need to do some work. You're going to need to put that hoe in there. You're going to need to get your tiller. You're going to need to turn it over. And I'm going to take this plant out. I have some stuff here, but that are starting to go all the way around here. We don't want those roots to continue to do that. We want to break them up. So you're gently going to use your fingers and you're going to pick them apart. Now, if you break them, don't panic, but be gentle. If you were doing this with a tree or something else, you would actually get a knife and cut them because they wouldn't let you do this. But you see, I'm just kind of loosening them up a little bit. And when you put them in the hole, then they're already looking to spread out. They're not going to try and stay wrapped around the soil they already know because you're introducing them into new soil. Another hint is tomatoes are amazing in the fact that they will, where their leaves are, the top part, they will make new roots. And because a tomato really is all about how healthy the roots are, I would take this tomato plant and using some scissors or something sharp and clean, disease-free, I would take off this bottom leaf right at where it hits the stem, and this leaf where it hits the stem, maybe this one, and I would bury this plant in the ground this deep. Because where I took off those leaves, that plant will make roots. And the more roots you have, the more tomato plant's going to get through July and August when it's really hot. So at first, your tomato garden is going to look sparse. You're going to have them far apart. You're going to have them buried up to here, and you're going to be like, oh, is this going to work? But these plants are going to put down big roots. You're going to have a lot of airflow, and that is the best thing you can do to make sure that you are limiting disease issues on those plants. So after that, when you've done it correctly, then you can go start looking at recipes. So that is really the best way to start your tomato plant there. And as I said, Bonnie did a great job. All the plants out there look great. You'll have great success with them. Pepper plants, one other thing about tomatoes and peppers. This pepper has a bloom, so that's what reminded me of it. We are told that these are self-pollinating. We are told they don't need a pollinator. That is incorrect. Self-pollinating only means the male parts of the flower and the female parts of the flower are close together. And wind can help with some pollination, but research shows the more pollinators you have with these plants, the more tomatoes you're going to get, the juicier and the more flavorful. Well, how can they be more flavorful? Well, this is very interesting. For some plants, when an insect lands on the plant around the flower parts and moves with its feet, the plant knows that an insect is there. The plant knows that insects are helping the species survive, and they actually put out hormones that help make the fruit sweeter, the tomatoes tastier. Did y'all know that? Isn't that really cool? That is why our strawberries are better when they're not, think about, you've had strawberries from a greenhouse. You've had tomatoes from a greenhouse. You've had tomatoes and strawberries in the garden. Which tastes better? Right. So make sure that you have pollinators around. So pepper plants are a little bit different. They're not going to get, depending on what you pick, they're not going to get that big. I do like to cage them because when they start getting fruit, especially if you're getting the bigger bell peppers, that tends to make the plant move. So you can cage them as well. I like to have a variety of different peppers because I like bell peppers are good to just eat on. It's great if you have chili peppers to cook with. You can actually take the chili peppers, the cayennes, and at the end of the season when we know a frost is coming but you have a lot more on, dry them. You can hang them up and dry them and then put them in a jar and have chili peppers all year long. So one other thing, because I'm getting close here time-wise, is remember that whatever chemicals you put in the ground or on your plant can be on your fruit. So I like to have it so when my kids visit, they can grab something and they can take a bite right from the get-go there. So just be mindful about what you're putting in there. If you have any questions about a disease or an insect or anything, Joel is amazing. He's right here. He's a great resource for insect ID or plant ID. If you're interested in what varieties of crops grow best in your area, he has a list. And the university's all the time doing testing on different varieties. Up in Blairsville, where I work at the Georgia Mountain Research and Education Center. We have 420 acres of 40 research plots. And the results of those plots come directly to the public. So anything new that's coming down, all this new precision ag that we're doing, Joel has access to it. So please make sure you're using him for everything that you need. And thank you so much for your time today. I hope you have some facts to take home with you today.
I'm going to actually skip the last question and see if we have any questions from the audience first. Anybody have a question? Nobody has a question. Okay, so why don't somebody, do you have a question? Okay, what's your question, Ray?
I've got a question for Ray. The question, who was the most famous person that went to the Capitol you took a picture with? Okay. You guys know Little Baby? Anybody knows Little Baby? And you gotta say it right. Little Baby was there.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I have no idea. Let me tell you.
I don't even know what he's saying.
If you know Little Baby, you look him up. This is a Grammy Award winner. He was at the Capitol. Mr. knows. And let me tell you, this gentleman just showed up.
I think James knows, Bruce. I think he might know him.
He knows. He got invited by the Democrats, and I saw him out there, and he was hanging out and stuff like that. He goes up to the ante room, and I said, you know, he looks like a good-looking young man. I'm going to take a picture with him. So, you know, like I do, I like taking pictures, and I took a picture. Let me show you. And then I saw my son. See, you got to remember, this is the generation. I saw my son that's 23 years old, and I said, look, Dad, you know who that is? I said, no. I'm like Bruce. No, I just took a picture of him. That's Little Baby. Look him up. Oscar Award, MTV. He is worth $400 million, and he was in the Capitol. So anyway, and I said, wow. So I put that picture on Instagram, and you tell you, my son has never been so famous in his life. He picked up a few girls. He said, your dad's hanging out with Little Baby? I said, yes, I am hanging out with Little Baby. Anyway, that's my question. Little Baby.
Okay, that's awesome.
I remember when Kirby Smart came. I knew who he was.
Okay, who has a question?
When is Georgia going to get school choice?
So when is Georgia going to get school choice?
Bruce just tapped me on the knee and said, you better answer this one. Well, the reason he said that bill started in the Senate this year, and it did pass in the Senate to allow the school choice pretty much broader than we have now. It came very close to passing the Senate, and one thing to remember is we have 2-year terms. So there are 2 sessions, but it's one biennial. So the bills that did not pass this year, and the House did a sort of parliamentary procedure there to keep that bill alive when it didn't pass. It got asked to be reconsidered, then got tabled. So it will go back to committee and doesn't have to pass the Senate again. We'll still be working on in the House in the next year. I know the governor supports it, and it's becoming more popular publicly to give citizens a choice. What I found was very wise about it, let's say, is that it would apply to kids that are in schools that are in the lower 25th percentile, the lower quarter. So if you're in essentially a failing school, not getting an appropriate education, it opens up this avenue to you. Let's keep our fingers crossed to see if that passes next time.
Yeah, and I can PS the senator's comments. The one huge reason is there's triggers in the bill that public education has to be fully funded. There's no resources being directed away from our public education system. One huge advocate for it, and who is a former superintendent of the year, Chris Irwin, whose committee that it came through, and another recently retired school superintendent, Rick Townsend from down in St. Simons, Georgia. Both of them supported, as did the members of the Georgia House of Representatives that formerly served as school board members. So there's merit to the argument. I will not disagree that there probably can be some improvements on the legislation that's resting right now. some refinements. So if we get hitting this 1-year pause, hopefully it'll come back in a little bit better position next year to have its intended effect. And that's basically rescuing kids in failing schools. So,
Senator Bill Cowser is absolutely right, and that's one thing that you don't see it, advertised as much. When they say school choice, that means it's everybody. Let me tell you, I keep saying how blessed we are to have a superintendent like that gentleman, to have great school board members, to have great teachers in Walton County. But unfortunately, I cannot say that about Clayton County, Fulton County, DeKalb County. I can't say that. So remember one thing, it's the 25% least performing schools. It doesn't affect that I'm aware of, correct me if I'm wrong, any schools in Walton County, because we're blessed to have the type of leadership that we have, but those other counties not. I'm a product. I don't know if you guys know, I'm not going to go into my story. I came here tell by my accent, I'm Latino. Okay? I came here when I was 8 years old, and I grew up in public schools. And my school was failing. I would have benefited from this, to give the parents a choice. It's not mandatory, remember that now. It's a choice for $6,000 and $500 for transportation, equaling $6,500. To give the parents a choice to take their kids somewhere from a failing school, not any school, a failing school that's 25% or under. And that motivates those schools, in my opinion, to see that and say, you know what, I got to perform above 25% so I won't fall into that category. So I am 100% behind that, because it gives the parents a choice. If they don't want to use it, and some of the things is, well, private schools are $10,000. That's fine. You don't have to use it. If you can't have the means, but at least we're giving you a voucher for $6,500 and you use it if you want to. In other words, it comes down to choice. We're leaving your parents, you guys, the parents, the people that know your kids more than anybody else, and they're in a failing school, we're giving you a choice, and that's what I believe is missing from this argument. We're giving you a choice.
Right, good question, thank you. Did somebody else have a question? Okay.
I'll take that one. So if I understood the question, what are we doing as a General Assembly to address mental health needs, including substance abuse? Is that a fair summary of the question? Yes, it is. So last year, what was our bill number? Was it 5? No, it was Speaker Ralston's bill. Judge Ott, what's the 1013? It was a mirror. So
Judge Ott said, I'm retired.
I'm struggling. 1013 is an involuntary commitment to a mental institution. Isn't that correct, Judge? A 1013 order. So Speaker Ralston, then running the House chamber, got assigned his bill, House Bill 1013, just to shine a light on how important our mental health care services are in Georgia, or our lack of adequate mental health care services are in Georgia. It was a groundbreaking piece of legislation. In a nutshell, all it does is says that we're going to treat mental health care issues as any other physical illness. It's hugely important. Most of us know that our jails are our primary mental health providers right now. I wish Sheriff Chapman was here. He could speak longer than we've had to have time to hear about the problems he has associated with mental illness in his inmate population. We know that our homeless population across the entire nation is a high degree of mental illness. It's probably 99% when you realize that addiction is a form of mental illness. It's something that we as a society, a nation, an affluent nation, have to get our arms around. And as a conservative, I would argue that by doing the right things up front, we will save money as taxpayers in the long haul. So this year we had a bill that sort of was moving forward in that direction. I believe it was House Bill 502. And basically the gist of it would be that we're going to do assessment of the mental health care landscape about and do a better job of having providers on the same sheet of music, if you will, where we're not just shuffling mental health care patients around randomly. There's a path for rehabilitation or help for the citizens of Georgia that need it. So that's just a nutshell. Do you got anything to PS on that?
Okay, thank you, thank you. Let's give them a round of applause, y'all, thank you. If y'all free to go back to your seat, I'm just going back.
Today on Feed the Goats, we're going to see if they like chocolate chip cookies. So we'll see. Beth, chocolate chip cookie. Oh, you like chocolate chip cookies. And what about you? Okay, Heidi likes chocolate chip cookies. Chocolate chip. Come here, Sophie. Sophie wants a chocolate chip cookie. Hey, leave Sophie alone. You want a chocolate chip cookie? Oh yeah. I like chocolate chip cookies. Okay, Heidi, here's the chocolate chip cookie. There we go. You do like chocolate chip cookies, don't you? You do like chocolate chip cookies. There we go. I'm sorry, that's all of them. It's all the chocolate chip cookies. Well, today on Feed the Goats, we discovered they really do like chocolate chip cookies. This is Paul Mullins with Feed the Goats on Walton Entertainment. Waterfall here. And this is what I call their eating garden. As you notice, they've got the deer fence all around it. The deer here in Monroe downtown in particular, there are a lot of deer around here. As you can see, it's a beautiful day today, and there's really a good turnout for the garden. This is the #3 garden on the tour. This is #4 on the garden tour. This is the Dillon House. This is number 7 of the tour, and this is water iris that are beautiful. And this is the 5th place on the tour. Right here at the corner of Davis and Madison. Now this is a garden for eating, and they have everything in here. Strawberries, I see them coming to bloom right down there, and I see some big red strawberries. I think they have tomatoes.
Educational garden that the Master Gardeners, it was our project for last year after we completed the class. And these is our calendar boxes. We have something growing in each one that hopefully will produce during that month of the year. The ones that are empty just have flowers in them. We had a couple of teams we had a team that did the artwork, and it's from all recycled materials. And we have our Connect to Protect back here, our pollinators. We have an indigenous tree area over here on the side with pawpaw trees and figs and muscadines. And then, I don't know if you're familiar with the Walton Wellness Garden. They're growing vegetables and fruits to give away to people in the spring and summer. Last year during COVID, they had like a drive-through giveaway. They would give them a bucket of fruits or vegetables when you came through. But the prisoners get to help sometimes now that COVID has lightened up a little bit. But we're real proud of what we've done here.
Well, the pollinator garden you've got in Social Circle, I saw it the other day, and that thing is beautiful.
It is beautiful, yes. And that's another project that we had, the Master Gardeners, and we kind of help take care of it some. They take care of it some, and we do some.
Now, most of the stuff here, is it edible?
Yes, everything is. They don't use any pesticides or poisons or anything here. Everything's organic. They have a lady that works here 3 days a week. That keeps it weeded and planted and everything looking good.
You can tell somebody's taking care of it.
Yes. And Dee Dee, the lady that runs the Walton Wellness Garden, she works out here a lot too.
All right, well, thank you.
You are welcome.
If anybody wants to know more about the Master Gardeners, is there somebody they can contact?
Yes, they can call the Extension office in Monroe. We have flyers here if they want to pick one up here today. But yeah, the Extension office in Monroe, Walton County.
Okay, all righty. Thank you.
It's time for another demo.
I hope you enjoyed the tour today put on by the Art Guild. There are a lot of beautiful gardens around this area, and just hope you enjoyed the shots of those and gave you some inspiration to go out and do your own garden. This is Paul Mullins with Walton Entertainment.
Thanks a lot for tuning in. We're going to show you some of the dogs that are housed here at the Walton County Animal Shelter. You can always come by and visit. We are open every weekday afternoon from 1:30 to 4:30 for general viewing, and on Saturdays from 10 to 1:30 for general viewing. If you have an approved adoption application, we do have morning hours available by appointment as well. You can see all that information on waltonpets.net, as well as a listing of all the dogs we're about to show you. But you know, it's springtime and the kitten season is picking up. We've already started getting in lots of litters of kittens, and so we do have adult cats and kittens. It's kind of hard to bring them outside to show you on TV, but if you go to the website, again, waltonpets.net, you can see all those adorable little kittens that are here at the shelter and available for adoption. So don't forget to either come by and have a look or window shop at waltonpets.net.
Pick him up, see if he doesn't bite me, since he's so small. Ready? This is Brownie. He was an owner surrender on Monday. He is about 5 years old. He's just a cute little guy, and he's very friendly for a Chihuahua.
Come here, Max. Max, sit. Okay. Well, here we have brother and sister. This is Max. He's 3 years old. He's German Shepherd, Australian Shepherd mix. This is his sister. She's also 3 years old. Same breed, but she is spayed.
This is Sandy. She was brought to us on Monday as a stray because she was limping and walked up in someone's yard, and she does appear to have some type of minor injury, nothing crazy. She is right under a year old, so still a puppy. She's not very well on a leash, but if you go slow and show her attention, then she'll love you.
Here we have a pit mix. She's a female. She's about 3 years old also. She's really sweet, and we have been calling her Meadow. Let's go. Let's go. Right here. Come here.
This is Nikolai. He's 5 years old. He is a lab and hound mix. He's not neutered, not vaccinated, and he's heartworm positive, but he's an owner surrender, and he's looking for a very loving home. He's good with cats, dogs, and all kinds of people. And he's just looking for his future family.
This is Dee Dee. She's 2 years old. She's a pit terrier mix. She's not spayed, and she hasn't been vaxxed, but she is good with kids.
Hello, I'm Kenny Sargent with Keep Walton Beautiful and the Walton County Recycling Center. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. First off, hope everyone had a great Earth Day. I hope we all took a little bit of time out to think about what we as individuals can do to better take care of our planet. You know, we're only going to get one of those, and I hope we did stop for just a minute to think about what Earth Day meant to us and what we can do, what we can start doing to do a better job of taking care of the earth that's been given to us. One of the big things we're working on here, we're getting ready for our paint collection event. That will be Saturday, May 6th from 8 a.m. to noon. We got the new pricing in from the company we work with, and just so you know, we don't make any money on the paint that's brought in. The only charge that we have is what we're being charged for this company to take the paint from us. So we don't make anything on that, but we do try to collect enough to at least pay for the event. So that being said, the charge is $3 per gallon can of latex paint and $5 per gallon can of oil-based paints. Just wanted you to be aware of that. We are cash or check only on the day of the event. We'll be out in the cul-de-sac in front of the center. It is a great way to get rid of any old paint you have at the house. If any of you've tried to get rid of it before, you know how difficult that can be. It's the best opportunity we have here in Walton County to properly get rid of that stuff. So come on out and see us. Give us a call, 770-267-1421, for any questions you have about the event or any questions you have in general about recycling or litter or any upcoming events or any environmental questions you have. We'd love to hear from you and get your thoughts on things and answer your questions. As some of you may have heard, we have started accepting mattresses here at the recycling center again after having to take about 3 months off from accepting those. We found a company in Atlanta that actually refurbished the mattresses, and I think most of them go overseas. But with that being said, after, we're kind of working through things and feeling this out, we just knew that we needed to take mattresses to provide the citizens with an opportunity to get rid of those or somewhere to take them because they were getting so difficult to get rid of. But with that being said, after a couple of loads, the companies called us and we were getting a lot of mattresses that simply could not be refurbished. So what we're asking is that if you do have mattresses that you're going to be getting rid of, don't sit those things outside in the weather and let them sit there for a month and get old and tattered. If your box springs are all broken up, if the mattresses have holes all the way through them and they're in really bad shape, they're soaking wet, been sitting outside for a month, we're not going to be able to accept those. So we do accept mattresses here, but the mattresses are going to have to be in a condition that allows them to be refurbished. So just wanted to make that clear because we will be having to turn some people away because we simply can't, we have nowhere to get rid of mattresses if the company we're working with won't take them. So we're going to have to get a little more stringent on what mattresses we do take. But the good mattresses you have, we do have a place to get rid of those now. It's $10 a piece for mattresses and box springs. And you know, we're one of the few places in town that are taking them at all. So if you have those, bring them out. If you feel like it's questionable, give us a call out here and we can probably tell you if the mattress will be okay to bring in. And as I always do, you know, come out and see us. Let us show you around the place. Let us show you what we do. Let us help you get started recycling. You know, if you're a group that's looking for volunteer opportunities or cleanup opportunities, we'd be happy to help you get started on that. We could supply you with cleaning supplies for a cleanup. We can help you find locations, any of that stuff. Just give us a call, come out and see us. Again, our number is 770-267-1421. Hope to see and hear from you, and we'll talk to you again next time. Thank you.
Hi, welcome to Monroe Walton Center for the Arts. Today I want to remind you about the garden tour. It's coming up on May the 6th. We've got 5 of the prettiest gardens in Monroe on the tour. Everything from kind of smaller in-town cottage gardens to places that are more spread out. We have an herbalist with a medicine wheel garden. We'll have plein air painters in the gardens, and even some music in some of the gardens. So it's just going to be a really, really fun day out for anybody who loves to be outside, anybody who loves to garden. If you want some inspiration or just a relaxing day out, Saturday, May the 6th. It's from 10 to 4. There are 5 gardens on the tour. You can come in here to the Art Center to pick up your tickets. By the time you see this, the tickets will be at the full price, which is $30. But you can come in here to pick up your tickets, to buy the tickets, or go online to monroewaltonarts.org. It's right on our front page, the link to buy the tickets. So you can also probably do walk-up tickets on the 6th. So if you want to wait until the 6th, you can. But I would urge you, so that it helps us with planning, of course. But please do participate and support us. This is a fundraiser for us, and our gardeners have worked so hard getting their gardens just picture perfect for you, and they love to share their knowledge. That's the feedback that we get back over and over again about our garden tours, is how gracious and hospitable the hosts are, and they love to talk about plants and give you their favorite tips and ideas and design ideas. So you'll learn a lot, you'll have a lot of fun. So that is May the 6th. Please, please, please do buy your tickets soon for that. We have a couple of new classes coming up. We have a photography 4-week course. I think it's 4 weeks. 4-week course on Saturdays that starts on April 29th. And we have an embroidery 5-week course. It's taught by a master artist. Her name is Suzanne Chansey. She is just amazing. And she does artistic surface embroidery. You'll really be inspired. It's not, as she says, this is not your grandmother's tea towel. This is really artistic and pretty, and will incorporate found objects in what you'll be producing. So again, if you go to our website, you'll learn all about it. It starts Wednesday, so you're going to want to jump in and register as soon as you see this, because it starts Wednesday, April 26th. So, and it's a 5-week course, and you get all your supplies, everything that you need, and it's all on the website, monroewaltonarts.org. And the last thing is, I don't know if I showed this. This is a brochure about the garden tour. If you want to come pick this up, take a look. We're trying to get this around town. Please do help us spread the word about the garden tour. And then we have summer camp coming up. I can't remember if I've mentioned that yet, but we have 5 weeks of summer camp. We have 4 weeks that are mixed media camps. That means they'll be doing all kinds of different projects. And then we have actually 2 weeks this year of pottery camp. So one of the weeks is the regular time from 9 to 12. One of the weeks we're actually bumping it up against one of our mixed media camps. So there's an all-day camp if you choose to sign up for both. You can sign up for the mixed media camp in the morning and the pottery camp in the afternoon, or just choose one or the other. But so that's kind of new this year. So we'll have one camp this week that's kind of a all-day camp from 9 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. All the others are from 9 to 12. The ages are about age 5 to up to about age 12 or 13. We do segment the kids out depending on how the ages run into a younger group and an older group. For pottery, you have to be at least 8 to take the pottery camp. So go online, Monroe Walton Arts and .org, and you'll see the links for summer camp. They are filling up. We just opened registration a couple of weeks ago, and some of the camps are almost full. So we really recommend that you jump in there and register if you know that you want to come. So you can come in always, register, talk to us, learn about what we have going on, pick up our class list, pick up our new rack card. It has a QR code. If you snap this, it'll take you right to our website, show you everything that we have going on. There's a list of our shows here on the back. The Tiny Art Show is our next show coming up. Right now we have the high school show, which is just fabulous. You'll be amazed. This show is here through May 18th. And then after that, we have the Tiny Art Show. In our Tiny Art Show last year, I think we sold 55 pieces out of the Tiny Art Show. It was a super popular show. Everybody loved it. You can buy little pieces of art, very affordable. It will fit in little nooks and crannies in your home or office. So that is coming up at the end of May. And again, you can learn about that by going to our website or coming in here and talking to us. We have the literature, all the guidelines and everything printed out for all of our shows for 2023. We have the Tiny Art Show. We have a new show, which is a pottery and digital art show and sell. And then we have the regional show. Everything is here in the gallery. You can pick that up at your convenience. So we hope to see you soon.